So what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, guys. I am David. On today's episode, we're going to give you guys a quick update on the greenhouse. We determined that we're going to keep that greenhouse and make it a complete nursery, and that's it. And this is a storage area for gardening stuff. That's what we're going to do with that greenhouse. So we put the shelves back in. We were undecided when we moved it. If you saw that video, if not, I'll leave a link in the description below and you can check that video out. But we did move it, and we decided to make it a nursery. I'll give you guys a tour of it a little bit later, let you guys see what it looks like. But today also, we're going to get into breaking up the ground. I got to go ahead and take an auger. I have an auger. I'm just going to loosen up the ground, cut some vines, and then throw a little soil that I purchased to amend the soil a little bit while we're mixing it up. All right, guys, give you guys a quick update. It looks just like it did last season. We just put the countertops back in. As you can see them, we just put them back in. Over here on this side, before we had the greenhouse there, right there, we had this board dug in, so it was level with the ground. So now that this greenhouse over here is not level with the ground there, these are a lot taller. But it's working out in our favor too, because if we decide in the future that we want to plant in this ground anywhere over here, underneath these tables, for things that require a little bit less sun, when you open the windows, these guys down here still get full circulation, which is really nice. So, and then we had a greenhouse that was in our home that we bought out here. When we start seeds in the house, we were using this, but I don't want to start seeds in the house any longer. I just want to do it all outside. So we bought it out here because we had some really cold nights. And the one night that we had both greenhouses zipped up, and it worked out well for us. So that was a pretty good idea to put the greenhouse in the greenhouse for starting seeds when it's questionably cold. So that's it, guys. That's gonna be the update for this. My daughter Rosalie, she bought her mother a rose bush for Mother's Day. Mother's Day is coming up, so that's in here hiding out because she saw it and she smiled a bunch. So we picked it up for the mommy. Rosalie is about to be 1 year old. Right after Mother's Day, she'll be 1 year old. So it's her first year out of the womb to spend with her mother. So we're really excited this year for Mother's Day and to give her that. All right, here's a quick look at what we're going to be doing inside this fencing area. As you can see, we're going to take the auger right there, and we're just going to dig up the ground, I don't know, about 6 inches or so into it, 6 to 8 inches, somewhere in there. And we're going to go ahead and break it up and just loosen it up. And then we're going to throw some soil down to amend it a little bit to help out the levels. And then we're going to go ahead and drop some fabric cloth down and do some planting. All right, guys, so things are looking really nice. I'm super excited. The auger just made short work of it, as you saw. I did a quick smoothing with the rake, just really fast, you know, to make it look good. Now I'm going to take the time, and we're just going to put a 4-foot piece of landscape fabric from there all the way down here to the other end, obviously. And we're going to put some landscape fabric staples in, and we're going to staple it and staple it and staple it. And then we're going to go ahead and put our plants in. All right, so it's done. It's looking really good. I'm very happy. Looks the part. Now we can go ahead and start planting some lettuces and things like that in here. Looks really good. Super excited. All right, let's get you guys in here so you can see how I do mine. I'm really just eyeballing it up right now, like, you know, pretty much, you know, 5-6 inches apart, something along those lines. A little X in the fabric. I'm not burning it in. That's it there. Just gonna fold this fabric back. There we go. I have one of these cool little hole thingers here. I don't know what you call this, but it just digs a perfect little hole for you. I take some fresh soil. I like to sprinkle mine in. It's already pre-moistened. And then I like to make a little hole, make a little cavity, like the shape of the square that we're about to put in off the soil blocks. Just like that. We just simply put the roots in Put it on in. I like to give it a good press to make sure the bottom's on the bottom there. And then we just grab a little fresh soil and we'll fill it in. There you have it. That's how I do mine. All right, so we rolled out the other side, we augered it up, we did everything we had to do, and then we just went ahead and rolled this on out and put the other side down. It's pretty cool. I had this weird little, I don't know, like thinned out spot right there in this particular fabric. I mean, granted, it wasn't a very expensive fabric, but I kind of feel a little bit gypped with that, but not that big of a deal. I mean, I tore a hole right there by mistake, and this stuff tears pretty easily, but not a big deal. Everything is looking good and looking the part. So we're happy to have this part of it all complete. All right, it's time for us to get after this garden part in here. We're going to need to lay on some black fabric in here. I raked up, I got a little metal rake there and a leaf rake over there, and I kind of raked up roots and a bunch of stuff right here. So I'm just going to grab the tractor and throw that all in the bucket and go dump all the rocks out back. I have a little rock pile going. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay down some black fabric, some landscape fabric down. And we're going to do it a foot past this fence line right here. So we don't have to worry about cutting the grass. On the same token, we may extend this patch, the garden to over here a little bit for some of the pumpkin patches and watermelon patches. I'm concerned that this may not be enough room in here to do it, but we're gonna start finding out. So let's get it done. All right, so I got to move this fence so we can go ahead and lay the fabric. Thank God it's temporary, nice and easy. So we're going to grab a quick rake and rake out some of those rocks and stuff right there, and we're going to go ahead and lay down some fabric. So I ended up getting it raked down, and I actually grabbed the big boy rake on the Coyote CK2610, and I did a quick little rake job right here. So I was like, we're going to go ahead and extend this area from that pole. We're going to go ahead and use this. I took the box blade and just broke up this ground really quick. I'm going to go ahead and just extend the garden area right now because of the pumpkin patches, watermelon patches, and all of those cantaloupes and stuff like that. I don't know how much room I need for it, but I want to make sure I have enough. And so while we're in process of breaking ground to do all of this, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of overdo it a little bit, I hope. So the rake, I put it on. I was just going to rake really quick, and you see that little hump right there? One of the tines on my rake is broke. So here's the tine that broke right here. Yeah. So fortunately, there's a nut and bolt. You put a wrench on this side, wrench on the other side, unscrew it, and just put another one on, and I have one, so we're going to go ahead and just toss it on. All right, so we took a quick second and just tossed the brand new one on, and let's go ahead and get this all raked up. I'm just going to go ahead and rake everything up in here on this side, smooth everything out, make it nicey nice, and then we're going to go ahead and put some fabric down, put our temporary fence back up, and get to planting. All right, so this is all done. I mean, The tractor is heavy overkill for this area and for what I'm doing. Like that rake, you know, all of that stuff is just, it's way big for this. But it makes me so happy because overkill is underrated. And if I would have had to do this by hand and a rake, it would have took me hours, probably an hour, 2 hours just to get in here and really rake this thing out. I would have took a couple hours. That thing was minutes. I mean, it was only 3-4 passes, and like I did a couple extra at a good measure, but man, I mean, and it came out wonderful. I can't even complain. That rake is just amazing. And I mean, the tractor's made such short work of it. All right, okay, enough rambling on. Let's throw down some black fabric. All right, so I'm very fortunate that there's not a lot of wind. There happens to be 100 million cicadas, so you hear it. It sounds really annoying. But we're gonna go ahead and get the fabric laid out now. Like I said, now I just pin 2 little fabric stakes at the very end, and I pull it all the way out, and then I go back and staple it in. And I can only do that because it is not very windy, at least at this moment. All right, we're all done. I didn't want to bore you guys with watching me roll a whole bunch of fabric out, but as you can see, it came out, and it came out relatively decent. I went to put the fence back up and everything also, and now it's time to lay out the garden where stuff is going to get planted. And I haven't gotten that far yet. I really don't know where stuff is going to go, but we're going to wing it a little bit. This is going to be fun. Let's put some plants in the ground. We're all finished up. Everything is planted. Let's show you what we got here. Up front, we have a couple of cucumbers, and then we got some honeydews, some cantaloupes, some watermelons, and some pumpkins. And the idea here was to let these guys come this direction, because this way towards me, where I'm at the camera, is south. So when they start to grow big, start to vine out, hopefully they vine this direction. So we left all of that space in front of them all open. See all the space here, all the way to this one, at least in this section. Those guys are going to run right into this guy. I don't know how much room, like I've already said, how much room we're actually going to need for the patches, like, you know. And so, you know, I don't know. Like cucumbers, I know they vine out a bunch, but these guys have already started flowering. The ones that are actually in the fencing area over there are actually have cucumbers already on them. And then out this way, we ended up doing some Roma tomatoes are in this very first row, and some beefsteaks. And then we got a bunch of bell peppers here. We got some jalapenos out in the far, and habaneros and Thai chilies. These are Thai chilies right here. And then we put sunflowers, mammoth sunflower seeds. Some of them are, because we started some sooner than others, some of them are big, some of them are small, so we spaced out the big ones to try to look uniform. And it doesn't really matter, you know, as long as they're all on the ground. But, and they're along the fence line. We're going to try to help the fence line out by, because these are huge, so they'll get 10 feet so the deer don't jump in here, because we've already had a deer in here and bit one of my sunflowers already. We put it in the ground, and one of the babies came and jumped in, and it was a little guy too, still had spots and all, jumped in and ate my sunflower and ate a few of my pumpkins, or a few of the leaves off the pumpkin over here. If you can see, this pumpkin has been eaten. So not a big deal. I mean, they got to eat too, so it's all good. But we're trying to get those sunflowers to grow nice and tall. And I still think we're going to put some black oil sunflowers in front of these guys here. But we got plenty of room in the garden, it looks like. We're going to wait for it to start cooling off a little bit later. And we're going to put broccoli in the ground, onions in the ground, garlic in the ground. That's all going to happen, I don't know, later. So this is what we got. It's looking good. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap this video up. I'm pretty excited. We actually got the fabric down in here and the fabric down in the fencing area. That makes me really happy. So all of that's done. We are waiting for our fall succession to start, and we'll take you on that journey too. We'll start in the nursery and getting all that fun stuff done. I apologize for all the cicadas. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just called life. We have to deal with it, but the work must go on. So, and the filming must go on. And so we had to deal with it for a little bit there, and it is what it is. That's it, guys. So, two things. Don't forget to take the time to enjoy what you do, and don't forget, work does not do itself. So don't be afraid to get out there and get after it.